people. Over 100% can burn someone.
The public is being warned to stay away from these death towers after it was discovered that many are operating above regulation safety limits. These death towers are much more dangerous than the public is made aware of. And this latest revelation is just staggering. 250,000 workers every year are burned, injured by the radiation coming from these towers. They display symptoms of radiation poisoning. And this is on top of the numerous cancer clusters that are being reported across the nation, from elementary schools to universities. It is a mass extinction event unfolding before our very eyes, ladies and gentlemen. And these death towers are going up everywhere. And this administration is nowhere to be found, except what we do know is that they are supporting the rollout of 5G in every town, on every farm. They say you can love this president, but you can certainly wonder why they're rolling out the 5G, knowing that there is no evidence proving that they're safe. In fact, there is over 1,000 studies proving that this type of radiation is carcinogenic and lethal over a long period of time, ladies and gentlemen. And we're seeing, more and more cases of brain cancers. Even children these days, they get the tablets, pretty much as soon as they're born, the iPads and the like, and they're just bombarded with radiation as soon as they enter the world. And, we're seeing, disturbing numbers of cases related to EMF exposure. This is why we're promoting the EMF 390. It is a very inexpensive solution, only $109 compared to the competitors, and it works just as well, as you can see in this comparison video, which we've played before over and over again. If you don't have an EMF meter, you're putting yourself at risk, ladies and gentlemen. And don't get screwed by Home Depot with the El Cheapo that only picks up magnetic fields. You really want something that picks up these death towers. You can find the EMF 390 on our website at the affiliate price of $109. They sell them for $119 at the Amazon store. But these death towers are showing up everywhere, at the schools, at the playgrounds, at the shopping mall, along busy intersections where you see, rush hour traffic conditions, where you're stuck in traffic, wherever they can just basically have you sit still so that they can zap you with these death towers. That's exactly what they're doing. This is definitely part of the eugenics program, ladies and gentlemen. These towers have a range of 25 miles. They don't need to be right next door. They don't need to be next to your bedroom window. They don't need to be on top of schools. They're there to irradiate people. They're there like these machine guns are there to exterminate people, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that you can't see the bullets flying out of these death towers. If you could, if you had the goggles that would let you see what's coming out of these death towers, you'd be running for your city council meeting. You'd be running, to the mayor's office. You'd be demanding that these things come down. And look at the way they look these days. They're camouflaged. They're hiding them from you. They don't want you to think about these things. Why don't they want you to think about these things, ladies and gentlemen? Because the evidence is overwhelming that these things cause cancer, that they burn people, they cause radiation sickness among the workers. 250,000 cases a year. Imagine if you line these people up. I mean, it would be a pretty huge city. 250,000 people. Now we're getting activists out there going to the city council meetings and basically stopping the erection of these death towers in various neighborhoods with lots of success. And we recommend that everybody go out there and be a superhero for your local community and start bringing the local news to the city council meetings whenever they're talking about these death towers. And even if they're not talking about these death towers, they usually give you a few minutes to speak if you're a resident of that town, go there, sign up, speak, talk about the death towers, do a silent protest in front of a Verizon store or a Sprint store. You don't want these things in your neighborhood. You don't want these things, at your school. You don't want these things, at the shopping center. You don't want them at the grocery store. You don't want them in front of your window, ladies and gentlemen, to say the least. And if you don't have a meter, go out there and get one. No matter which one you get. The gigahertz solution can run you up to $1,000. The tri-field meter can run you up to $300 to $300. The EMF 390 is $109. And so it's a steal. It's a deal, and it works just as well. And it fits in your pocket. It's about the size of a cell phone, and you'll be glad you got one. Check it out, stfnreport.com. Get one today. In any case, these death towers are the backbone for the next chapter of the agenda, which is the transhumanism, the automation, the Terminators, the Skynet, the Robocops, the works, including the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen the Neuralink videos. You've seen, the various companies out there talking about, plugging you into the Matrix, getting a brain chip and the like, so that you can be an avatar for the Skynet, so that you can join the hive mind and the like. They need the 5G out there for this to work. And so if we stop the 5G, we stop the transhumanism, we stop the Skynet, we stop their eugenics program. And as cliche as all of that sounds, the evidence is overwhelming. These things definitely cause cancer over the long term. It's not a bullet to the head. It's not an instantaneous bullet to the head. But over time, these things definitely up your risk, and that's why you should lower your exposure to these death towers. And the only way you're going to be able to know what you're being exposed to is if you have a meter out there. And again, that's why we recommend the EMF 390. It'll give you, solid feedback about what's going on in your area. And once you see what you're getting dosed with, you're going to be out there going to the city council meeting. You're going to be doing the silent protest in front of the Verizon store. You're going to be talking about this to your friends, at the bar, at work, wherever you go, because these things are becoming a huge nuisance and a risk. I mean, the last thing you want is this thing next door, and so that you're up all night thinking about, how you're getting dosed by these death towers. Prevention is key here. Being proactive is key here, not reactive. Again, the big breaking news here, ladies and gentlemen, over 250,000 telecom workers get RF poisoning of some sort, whether it be radiation sickness, RF burns, and the like. Every year, 250,000 people. Why? Because these towers are, misconfigured, to say the least. They're overpowered, they're weaponized, and they're pointed right at where people congregate. And we've seen them at churches, we've seen them pointed at parking lots, at gas stations, on busy roads, elementary schools, playgrounds. You'd be surprised what's being targeted by these death towers, and they have a long range. And you might think, well, you're 2 miles away from the death tower. If you've got a clear line of sight, and these little rectennas are pointed in your direction, there's a high probability that you're getting super dosed by these death towers. And the readings can be pretty astronomical if you're in the beam that these things are putting out. And each rectenna puts out a beam like a spotlight, and you just don't want to be in those hot zones. And the only way you're going to know, literally, is if you have a meter. In any case, you want to be proactive. You don't want these monsters showing up in your neighborhood, and they will, thanks to the big lobbying firms from the telecoms, as well as the politicians out there that have sold you out for what must be just chump change, and now everybody's facing the consequences because of that. This system has sold out everybody. You look at our food It's illegal in most other countries. They don't want it. They don't want the chlorinated chicken. They don't want the GMOs with the growth hormones and the antibiotics and the like. They don't want, the fluoridated water. They don't want what we got going on. There's countries that are banning the 5G. Why are we the guinea pigs? Why are we being treated the worst of the worst in the civilized world? Why are these death towers coming to a neighborhood near you so that you can have, faster download speeds? For real, you need, people don't need to download a movie in 2.1 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, not considering what has to go up in your neighborhood to do that. In any case, I think people should have the option to opt out. But when these death towers come up in your neighborhood, you can't opt out. It's non-stop radiation, and over time, it kills. The studies prove that. Everybody knows that these things are bad news, and the science that that the telecoms are putting out there are forged. Their books are cooked, to say the least. They basically pay off scientists to basically say that everything is okay, but the evidence is overwhelming here, ladies and gentlemen. Check out the Bioinitiative report on RF exposure and the like. Check out the cancer clusters in elementary schools and universities around the country. You'll see them out there on the internets, and they don't talk about it, but these things are deadly, to say the least. That's going to be it for this broadcast. Remember, what you're seeing on television, it isn't about politics. It's about the epic struggle of good versus evil. All of these people are commiserating together to sell you out, and you can like what they're selling on television, you can like what they're saying, but at the end of the day, these people are there to implement the program, the agenda 2030 and the like. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not about politics. It's not about right versus left. It's about good versus evil out there. And all of these people are in it together like a bunch of Charlie Manson groupies. So don't be a sheeple out there. You woke up after 9/11 not to go back to sleep. The evidence is overwhelming. These people aren't delivering. They didn't put Hillary in prison. They didn't put in place term limits and the like. Instead, they're just doing the same old thing, whacking the witnesses and the like. We'll leave it there for this broadcast. Check us out at stfnreport.com. Till the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Workers say they're getting injured working on those antennas, and the constant push for more towers is putting them at risk.
Team 10 troubleshooter Kristen Severin joins us. And Kristen, you talked to a San Diego company with a solution to keeping them safe.
Yeah, there are 600,000 cell phone tower sites in the United States. They're everywhere, on the sides of buildings, streetlights, water tanks. But Team 10 learned thousands of those towers violate federal rules that are supposed to keep workers safe.
It hurts like how.
Benjamin Rivas has worked on cell phone towers for 14 years.
I was dealing with them day in and day out.
He quit after an antenna that should have been powered down was still live.
Physically burned my hand.
The burn is a work injury you can see.
You get burned on the outside, but internally it blisters.
Other problems he said caused by the towers aren't as easy to spot.
Depression, and I get headaches from time to time, and mood swings and stuff.
Rivas is one of 250,000 workers a year. An insurance rating agency said gets too close to these antennas. They act as an open microwave and can cause eye damage, sterility, and cognitive damages.
250,000 workers every year cooked by an open microwave, according to the insurance companies, according to the mainstream news. If this is not the most bombshell news report you've heard all year, I'm not sure what you're waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. This is the evidence. 250,000 people every year are being nuked by these death towers, according to insurance companies. What else needs to be said? There are countless cancer clusters being reported across the nation, and they're putting up more death towers every day. Death towers near schools, death towers near the grocery store, death towers on your way to work, death towers everywhere. There's no escaping the eugenics program out there, and that's the point. It's like the chemtrails, it's like the fluoride, it's like the vaccines, it's like everything else. It's study after study. There are over 1,000 studies right now confirming that cell towers and cell phones cause cancer. There are as many studies implicating the fluoride, the GMOs, the vaccines to some sort of disease. And yet the mainstream media, for the most part, pretends like you're not the target, like nothing is going on. Look at these death towers. It's like Dr. Evil's Christmas tree. They're pretty much right there at eye level, you know, nuking you right there on your way to the store. Everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. What's it going to take for people to fight back against this obvious attempt to mass murder humanity day after day? And look at these sheeple celebrating. You've got a university here, Verizon Wireless, on campus this week, putting up a new death tower. Should improve our service for our students and our community. There's nothing worse that can happen to a school or to a community than a death tower going up right on fucking campus. Pardon the language. But you don't see this in other countries. They have to keep them at least like 100, 200 feet away from schools. But here they're just putting them right on the roof. And this is just the beginning of the nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. There's just so much more to say about this bombshell breaking news story. If we can come back to it, 250,000 people every year are confirmed nuked by these death towers, according to insurance companies and the mainstream news. But they're like, it's okay for this to go up in your neighborhood. It's okay for this to be just a few feet away from your house, when the workers are, you know, displaying signs of radiation sickness. They've got the burns, they've got the blisters, and the like. These things truly are radioactive, and they're dangerous. Countries right now are banning the deployment of 5G, but we, ladies and gentlemen, are putting them up like they're Christmas trees.
These 30-foot tall poles are popping up in communities all around Denver, and when all is said and done, there could be 500 of them spread throughout the city. Well, our Gary Brode found one in the Highlands neighborhood. And Gary, how are neighbors liking the new addition?
Some not so much. This is one of about 12 just in this Highlands neighborhood. And right now you may be hearing the car engine running. Just to give you a little perspective here. So I'm going to turn this off real quick. You could still hear, though, that buzzing sound because it's coming from this transmitter right here. And one neighbor in this area says he hears it all night long. Across Denver and most of the country, these poles are leaving their mark. The more we use our phone,
they're going up everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, and they're painting them camouflage green in the urban jungle so that you won't see them. That's the new thing. It just kind of blends in. You don't know what it is. It's shapeless at a distance for the most part. It just looks like a pole. But these death poles, these death towers are going up everywhere. And it serves the sheeple right for being complacent, for not pushing back.
A new cell tower in Folsom could put a preschool out of business, with parents threatening to leave.
CBS 13 investigator Julie Watts reveals how what we don't know yet about these towers could cost small businesses and even homeowners.
Of course, they're putting them up by preschools, at your shopping centers, and they're strategically located to impact the most amount of people. And when you see these things, I mean, they look nefarious. That's why they have to camouflage them. You look at the studies, it's even worse. And so they have to, you know, basically lie and say, well, for the time being, there's no known reason to be concerned. Because the studies are based on, you know, their priorities and their funding. They're not funding studies that would say that these things are dangerous. Instead, they're paying off scientists to come on television to tell you that they're safe. but these things don't look safe. And we're getting reports of over 100,000, 200,000 cell phone workers being burned every year, nuked like a TV dinner, ladies and gentlemen, and showing signs of radiation sickness, burns, blisters, and the like. If there is ever a reason to be concerned, it certainly would be that, as well as the reports from elementary schools across the country where there are outbreaks of cancer. Cell phone providers are forced to take down their towers, but these stories are here one day, gone tomorrow, thanks to all of the deception on the mainstream news. And it's like, all of the other big stories, like the Epstein case, here today, gone tomorrow. And you just have to wonder, who murdered Epstein and for what reason exactly, ladies and gentlemen. Many other reports that we could be talking about as far as what they're covering up. Be sure to check out our archives for more on that. Be sure to check out the Dark Matrix. Might be one explanation for what we're seeing out there. It looks like they're terraforming the planet. It looks like they're exterminating humanity. Who, could these people be that are responsible for that? Is it just evildoers from planet Earth, or is there something else going on? It looks like they're dropping clones and putting them in charge of everything that we see. Corporations, the television, the government, and the like. It looks like they live. It really does. What's going on out there? Be sure to check out our archives for more on that. But this bombshell breaking news that hundreds of thousands of workers have been nuked by these death towers should be a big wake-up call to people, because these things are not safe. The people that are handling these death towers are coming down with radiation sickness, and they're quitting their jobs. And these types of stories go underreported. Imagine if they lined up 250,000 workers every year saying we got nuked by these death towers, but they're safe, being just a few feet away from your home. They're safe being at basically street level, nuking your shopping center, nuking your school, and the like. And that's exactly what these things are doing. If you had goggles to see what these death towers were doing in your neighborhood, you would freak out. If you could see the light that was being emitted by these things, you would freak out. And we know that they're dangerous. There's over 1,000 studies that conclude solidly that these death towers are not safe. And if you get too close, you show signs of radiation sickness. Imagine what long-term exposure will do. These things have a range of about 25 miles, and they're stacking them up in your towns, just a few blocks away. So if this isn't a eugenics program, then what is it exactly? What these Nazis figured out? It's much easier bringing the gas chamber to the people than it is bringing people to the gas chamber. You start hauling people off to the gas chamber, the sheeple might start asking questions. But if you're just putting up these silent death towers that are just nuking everybody, then people don't ask too many questions. And that's the point. And, the cancer rates are just, skyrocketing. And, of course, the real numbers aren't being released. But, you hear more and more cases of children with cancer. You see, autism rates skyrocketing. They are doing something to the human race, and it's called extermination, ladies and gentlemen. It's right there on the Georgia Guidestones. There's no denying the evidence, right? And if it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not the death towers, it's some other kind of, eugenics program, like pushing the LGBT thing on children, ladies and gentlemen, because, of course, if you go that way, you don't replicate. In any case, we recommend everybody get an EMF 390. We sell them for $109 on our website, stfnreport.com, direct from the manufacturer, 1-year warranty. By far the best one for the money. Don't get screwed by the El Cheapo from Home Depot that only picks up electric fields. You want something that picks up the death towers and the wireless radiation from the tablets and the like. Check it out, the EMF 390, only $109 on our website, stfnreport.com. That's the affiliate price. They sell them for $119 on Amazon, so you can pay more if you want to. In any case, these death towers are everywhere, and people have been suspicious for quite some time. Now we're seeing some movement, in local towns at the city council. People are pushing back before these death towers go up in their neighborhoods, and that's the best thing, is to prevent them. Prevention is key here. You want to be proactive and not reactive when it comes to these death towers. And of course, they are everywhere, and you should be concerned about each and every one of these things, and a lot of them are hidden, and so you may not know. I mean, look at this. Look how sneaky this is. These flagpoles are actually, a trio of death towers. And this could be at a school. This could be at your, post office. This could be anywhere. Where are these things? Without a meter, you won't know where they are. And with EMF 390, I mean, you can detect them before anybody else and avoid being in one of those danger zones. Ladies and gentlemen, truly amazing. Let's see if we've got some other news from our news feed. Good Samaritan disarms a robber on the Blue Line train in Chicago. Pretty interesting footage out there, to say the least. Wait a second. What's the video guy doing? I think he's on vacation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to fire the video guy. English Channel ports could be gridlocked for a year after the no deal for the Brexit. We'll see what happens there. Of course, everything's heating up and the like. Huge police presence at apartment complex. Hunt for 3-year-old abducted child from a birthday party. We'll be following that. Check out the new automated tank, unmanned combat vehicle. And so this is, just the beginning of the Skynet, the beginning of the Terminators that are going to be unleashed. There'll be no stopping the automation because you've been silenced out there, ladies and gentlemen. We're on our 10th page, and while everybody's distracted with, whatever's on the TV, they're making significant progress towards their, utopian transhuman dream, where they assimilate everybody into the matrix, get the neural link, get the brain chip. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened to Epstein is the question, and be sure to check out our archives for more on that. Of course, Facebook is looking to develop their own brain chip. I know we've got another missing child, more pedos everywhere. Check out the documentary, An Open Secret, ladies and gentlemen. It was there. It was there. Anyways, everybody's looking to develop a brain chip, develop, thought reading technology. They're going to bring the definition of a thought crime to a whole new level. And obviously they'll be persecuting everyone for their political ideologies and the like. If you don't conform to their system, then you will be a target. And with your smartphone, it makes it even easier, ladies and gentlemen. This beast system can target you wherever you go. As soon as you go on Facebook and declare what you are, then these death towers follow you everywhere. And just look at these things and the noise they make, very ominous, to say the least. They're humming and buzzing as they irradiate you, connected to the endless power supply of the grid. Look at these things. I mean, they're huge, right? I mean, and they want to put these, every other block. People can't sleep just because of the noise. Imagine, just sitting there knowing that you're getting dosed 24/7 and you can't run away. I mean, you're in your house, you can't run away. And the walls are made of wood and sheetrock. I mean, that's not blocking anything. Obviously, getting a detector is one thing, and then investing in some sort of EMF prevention is another. Tinfoil works really well. You'd be surprised. You see all the rich people using it for their key fobs these days. It works exceptionally well. But look, this 5G is going to be the backbone for the Terminators, for the Skynet, for the Robocops of tomorrow. You think it's bad today, just wait for 2020, 2025. It's only going to get worse as time goes by. So this is the time to abort Skynet. These things are irradiating you, raining down death and terror in your neighborhoods, giving your kids cancer, and you know, they're basically celebrating it like it's the next best thing. You know, this administration hasn't done anything to stop the eugenics program. They can talk all they want about, you know, the economy, ladies and gentlemen, but until they actually do something about these death programs, we're all in danger, and that makes them complicit, whether you like it or not. No coincidence that they were, you know, all lifelong friends out there, the Clintons, the Epsteins, the Trumps, and the like. Very nefarious characters, whether you like them or not. And if you do like them, if you're still under the spell, you know, just know they live out there. These people are part of the program, ladies and gentlemen. As, you know, as cliche as that might sound, you know, what's going on out there, it's not your imagination. There's definitely something wrong with the world today. You can feel it, you can taste it, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, the worst of it is, you know, has to be, you know, what's in the food. You know, nobody wants our food, and yet, you know, people are lining up, you know, in your town for it, at the McDonald's, at the Red Lobster, at the whatever it might be. People are lining up for the eugenics program, lining up for their new death phone, you know, celebrating the new death towers and the like, and, you know, indoctrinating the children. It's like a horror movie. That's what we live in these days, ladies and gentlemen. An inverted world where good is evil and evil is good, where they want to ban the Bible and they want to promote Sodom and Gomorrah and put up death towers everywhere, fluoridate everyone, poison everyone with the food, spray them like bugs. You know, what is going on? What are they doing at 666 Pennsylvania Avenue, ladies and gentlemen, if it isn't protecting and endorsing this system? You know, there should be a full-on war against the devil and the minions of the dark side, but instead, you know, they let Hillary go. They put the whistleblowers in prison. They're rolling out the death towers, and the sheep will come on here saying Trump 2020. Well, look, it might be better than worse, but it's still headed in the wrong direction. These people are not on your side. It's one big club. It's one big billionaire club, and ladies and gentlemen, you are not in it. But if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.